Hi, welcome back to Deadly Affirmations, the video book. Today we're going to finish up chapter 14, the third part of it, and basically it's just a peaceful Sunday in River City, and we'll find out what Patience and Weezie and Lee and Detective Williams are spending their time doing on Lazy Sunday. In the comments section just below this post, you'll find the link to Amazon where you can purchase a copy of this book, yes, as a Kindle book or as a paperback. So if you've been enjoying the story so far, you can get it for yourself and always have it close at hand. It'll be great. You'll see. Anyway, let's get back to Patience and her friends. Here we go. When Patience got home, she unloaded her car, washed her hands, poured herself a glass of iced tea, and set out the bowls, cookie sheet, cast iron pan, waffle iron utensils, paper towels, and plates that she would need. She walked to the living room and found some music on the radio. The Cumbias Todos station was playing Rubén Blades and Oswaldo Ayala. She danced back into the kitchen, ready to cook. First, Patience cut the chicken into 8 pieces, put the pieces into a bowl, and seasoned them with salt and pepper. Then she mixed the eggs, condensed milk, and water together in another bowl and poured the mixture over the chicken. She let the chicken soak in the liquid for 5 minutes. While the chicken was soaking, Patience put 2 cups of flour, a spoonful of paprika, a pinch of ground thyme, 2 pinches of granulated garlic into one of the grocery bags. She shook it up and then, one piece at a time, added a piece of chicken that had been soaking in the egg mixture to the bag. She shook the bag until the piece was coated and then took it out of the bag, knocked off the clumps and excess flour, and then placed the chicken on a paper towel until it was dry. She did this for every piece of chicken that was soaking in the eggs, milk, and water mixture. She put the cast iron frying pan on the stove and turned the burner to high. After a few minutes, Patience sprinkled a few drops of water into the pan. Nothing sizzled. A few minutes later, she tried again and the water evaporated as it touched the iron of the skillet. Then she poured a quart of peanut oil into the pan. By the time that the oil had heated up, the radio was halfway through Kiko and the Lavender Moon. She loved them Lobos. And then Liliana Salme and her Bomba Estero pals were on fire, and Patience danced her way around the kitchen. When the surface of the oil shimmered, Patience added the chicken, frying a piece or 2 at a time, turning the pieces as they browned. When a piece was done, she took it out of the oil and let it drain on another bed of paper towels. Now, to make the waffles. Patience mixed a couple of cups of Bisquick, a cup or so of milk, an egg, and a couple of tablespoons of oil in a bowl. She brushed a light coating of vegetable oil onto the waffle iron. When the light went on, telling her that the iron was hot, she poured some of the batter onto the center of the iron and closed the lid. She waited about 5 minutes practicing her cumbia moves, and when the iron stopped steaming, she opened it and removed the golden waffle. She made a couple of waffles and put them on a plate. She took the drumstick and a breast and put them on another plate. She carried both plates to the table. She got a knife and a fork, a couple of paper towels, the bottle of Mrs. Butterworth's, and the bottle of Rooster hot sauce, and took them all to the table. Finally, she tossed a couple of ice cubes into a tall glass and filled it to the top with lemonade from the fridge. Soup was on. Patience put a fork into a waffle and put it onto her plate. Then she grabbed the drumstick, centered it on the waffle, and doused it with hot sauce. Finally, she poured a healthy dose of the Mrs. Butterworth's all over it. Patience ate both waffles and 3 pieces of chicken. She drank 2 glasses of lemonade, and after a loud, hearty belch, she was ready to clean up. Lee woke up in time to get to the cafeteria for a salad before it closed. That party with Bree had been excellent. Even though the serial killer paper was finished for psych, she still had reading to do for English and some problems to work out for her stats class tomorrow. Back to the salt mines. Weezie spent her Sunday peacefully knitting more caps, listening to NPR and talking to Bruno, telling him about the fest yesterday. At least the part she had spent with Patty. Bruno was too sensitive a bird to hear about anything as shocking as a murder. When Detective Williams had finished reading the necropsy report, he had had enough for the day. He straightened his desk and locked the important stuff up in the drawers before he left his office. There was a cop bar and grill about a block and a half from the station. He wasn't really interested in drinking tonight. Well, maybe just a beer. But the bar and grill had a remarkable menu of home-cooked meals that were better than many people's mothers, especially Detective Williams, ever made. He left his car at the station and walked a couple of blocks. After dinner, he would need to walk off some of the delicious calories he planned to consume. It took him 5 minutes to get there. Williams opened the glass door that led to a foyer with a coat room beside it. He hung up his coat and pushed aside the swinging doors that led into the bar. Along the wall of the bar were 8 or 10 upholstered booths, well-preserved relics of the 1950s. He found an empty booth in the back and slid in, facing away from the door. 2 minutes later, Elliot, the bartender and waiter, came by with a draft beer and a coaster. "Thanks, Al," Williams said. "The special, Marcel?" Elliot asked. "Yes, please," the detective said. "Do you want fries with that?" "Sure," Marcel said. "No, you don't." Elliot grinned and walked into the kitchen to place the order. 10 minutes later, Williams had finished his beer while idly watching Dragnet reruns that ran on Sunday nights on the TV at the back end of the bar. The bar had a great collection of old cop shows and featured a different classic non-stop every night of the week. The big screen TV at the front of the bar showed sports, but the back end screen program was much better. Sundays, Dragnet; Mondays, Streets of San Francisco; Tuesdays, Hill Street Blues; Wednesdays, NYPD Blue; Thursdays, Adam 12; Fridays, Law and Order; and Saturdays, The Wire. Elliot returned with another beer and Williams' dinner: pot roast with potatoes, slightly charred carrots and onions, a basket of biscuits to sop up the gravy. "Perfect," Marcel said. "Thanks, Elliot." "Any time, Marcel," Elliot replied.